Hi guys, welcome back to Design with Karthik and welcome back to Basics of Typography. In last video we have covered how to do manual kerning and the response was so good. Very thankful for all the viewers who have watched the video. And this session it is actually jumping onto a font pairing session. Many persons has asked me what are the fonts, best font for doing font pairing or how to do font pairing. Okay, so this session there will be a font pairing is coming under this session. And today we are going to see starting point of font pairing, because before doing a font pairing there is one thing which is very important, that is how to choose a right typeface, and that is what we are going to see in this video. So come on, let's get started. Okay, so coming back to basics of typography, and the person who is following the course from the starting will be much aware of this slide. So we have covered successfully, we have covered all the basics session, and now we have jumped to how to session. So in this how to session we are going to see three things: how to choose right typeface, how to pair fonts, and how to avoid bad typography. So that is what my plan in this how to session, and this video it is going to be how to choose right typeface. Okay. Okay. So before actually jumping on to theory part, let us be very practical thing. So is this a right choice? Okay, in the left side you can see a full formal coat suit, and the right side it is like an informal shoe, which is like a sneaker kind of shoe. So is this a right choice? On instant look we can see these both doesn't match together. Okay, there is an important saying that you can judge a person character by what shoe is wearing, what type of person he is. We can judge a person by just seeing a shoe. That is a common saying. So if a person wearing this suit and this sneaker, then it is absolutely a bad choice. It is not, he is not having a good sense of designing dressing sense. Okay, so that is what we come to know. So this two doesn't go well together. But what about this? Okay, so this is formal and this is formal. Even though this shoe is not purely formal, it still it is not the full formal professional office stuff shoes. No, it is not the case, but still these both look, it goes well together. Okay, so this both combine together very well. And same thing about here, if a person is wearing jeans, if we put the formal shoe, then again it is again a no-go. But if a person putting the jean, then this sneaker shoe or a sports shoe, whatever you call it, it goes very well together. So our font, our typography is very similar to this concept. Okay, it has to go, it has to gel together very well, and that is why we have combined this with the shoes. So your font and typefaces can be a shoes of your design. Okay, if you get your shoes right, then the entire design, entire dressing sense looks great. Okay, so in the similar way, if you get the font and typefaces right, your entire design will be entire design will make it look professional. Okay, the entire concept of this entire course depends on one important thing, that as a beginner you can elevate your design to a next level just by knowing two things. One is typography and another is color. So if you get your font and typefaces right, then your entire design will be right. So that is what we have come to know about with this shoes example. Just like what I said at the starting of the session, shoes create a good and bad impression of person. Just like what I said, if we can judge a person character by what shoe is wearing. Okay, so like that, in a similar way you can judge a design with the help of typography, font, and also color. If you get these three things right, typography and font, it is almost, we can keep it as one thing. If you get typography and color right, then entirely the impression about the design will be right. Okay, there are so many greater designers who just make these two right and gone to a greater level. So it is a very important thing to get the typography right. So that is what we are going to see in this session. Okay, you can think that typography is just 10% of overall design, but if this 10% gone wrong, then entire design goes wrong. If 10% gets right, the entire design gets right. Even color is again an important thing, which I'll definitely, many persons are asking me about a color separate course. I'll definitely do it, but before color, if you get this typography right, it will, if you forgot about color, even if you go for a black and white slide, if you get this typography right, your design will be right. Even if you see this presentation, it is nothing but a black and white presentation. There is no sort of any design element. Okay, it is purely black and white, but still you are able to read it, you are able to understand it, you are able to, it is not a great design. I don't say this is a great design thing. It's just a presentation, but it is right. It has to be there, it has to be kept in a place, it has to be designed in a way that you are able to understand it, you are able to I am able to communicate what I am intending to communicate to you. Okay, so that is what. So even if the typography is 10% of a design, it can have a major impact to your design. If you get it right, your entire design will be right. If you get it wrong, the entire design will be wrong. Okay, there are certain steps on how to choose a right typeface. So first thing which we need to consider how to choose a right typeface is branding. Okay, the font which we choose should have something connection to the brand. A font you select should embody the character and spirit of your brand. Okay, so for example, I have told at the very starting of the course itself, you cannot imagine MACD font for a Renault car. Okay, in a similar way, you can't imagine a Coca-Cola font for a Apple laptop. Okay, because the font itself says something about the brand. Okay, Apple is very simple, minimal, all the designs are very simple, minimal, and they showcase this minimalism in each and everything, whereas Coca-Cola is vibrant, energy. So everything is the typeface, the color, everything communicates its what is behind the brand. Okay, so your branding is very much important on choosing a right typeface. For example, this is just a sample example. So you all might be knowing about Cinzel font, monotone font, and Amatic font. Okay, I am Cinzel, I am Epic. Okay, so if you are going for any epic movie poster, then go for a Cinzel font. Okay, or if you want to communicate something very serious, something very if you are creating a poster for a historical moment, like what has happened in this year, some sort of infography or some sort of poster, then go for a Cinzel font. Similarly, monotone, if you're going creating a party sort of poster, or you're creating an offer or end of season sale, some sort of thing, then go for a monotone one, and it is very fun. At the same time, just think of the brand, what type of brand. I can't go and use a monotone font for an Apple brand. Okay, so everything is there. Okay, so just think of the branding perspective, and each and every font has its own meaning. Okay, which I have covered very much in detail in all the font classification, like serif font, what it says, sans serif font, what it says, decorative font, what it says. Just check out the playlist, I'll be giving it in the description. Just check it out. So each and every font has something related to the brand, so please check what this font tells about your brand, whether this font will be suitable for your brand. Understand your brand guide and then go for choosing the font. Okay, so just remember, you can't use a Coca-Cola font for Apple. Okay, Coca-Cola is some different branding, and Apple is some different branding. Don't club together. Similarly, so always remember, branding plays an important role in choosing right typeface. If you just know what your brand is about, and then go for choosing a right typeface. This whatever I have said applies for the color also. Okay, there is a psychology behind each and every color. Similarly, there is a psychology behind each and every font. Okay, so please do remember that before choosing a right typeface. Okay, so coming on to next, legibility and readability. We have covered this in detail in past session. Legibility, readability, kerning, tracking, everything we have covered it in detail. So even if you are the main purpose of any design is make the customer or make the client understand what you are trying to communicate. Okay, so if the font or if your typeface is not clear and not legible, then it is no point in creating a design. Okay, until and unless you are creating some abstract kind of design, even abstract design has some hidden elements which can clearly communicate what it intended to communicate. Okay, so make sure your font is very clear and legible and readable. If this is not there, then there is no point in choosing that font. Okay, and this is just a simple slide how to choose how to showcase the what you call right font size for the different headings. You can't go and choose light heading, light font weight for a body text. Okay, and similarly, which I covered in very previous videos also. You can't use a script font for a body text. It just spoils the design because it will be not readable thing. Okay, so each and every headline, what is the font weight, or headline, what type of font you can use. You can use script font for headline, but don't use script font for body text. Similarly, body text, try to use serif font compared to sans serif font, because serif font has this shape variation inside the shape of the letter itself has some variation, and it itself is more readable. Similarly, avoid full caps in body text, because again it will be uniform and it will be difficult to read. Okay, if a person is thinking at least a minute, at least not even a minute, if a person is thinking at least 1 second to read the word, then absolutely that is taking extra time of anyone who is seeing the design, and that is not recommended to use it. Okay, so it is better and it is more recommended to go with these rules. Make sure the font choice which you are using is legible and readable. Okay, and coming back to, this is a simple tip. Okay, this is anyone can implement it just now. Okay, use safe font. Okay, so what is meant by safe font? Serif font and sans serif font are safe font, and 95% of a design, most of the design, let it be a web design, let it be a poster design, let it be a social media post, or let it be a newspaper ad, or whatever, Facebook ad, whatever it is, or in an outdoor advertising, banner, hoarding, sort of everything. If you see, it will be mostly of safe font. Okay, it will be mostly of serif and sans serif font. Okay, it will be very rare, only that 5% of entire design they are going for some different sort of font, will it be a decorative or script or a handwritten font kind of thing. Okay, so to get the right typeface, to choose a right typeface, simply implement that, use safe font. What are safe font? Serif font and sans serif font. And even in this current scenario, there are n number of serif font which are not readable. Okay, and sans serif font also, for the some of the sans serif font where the counter space is very high, and it itself become a length of the shape of the word to be condensed or narrowed, and it itself foils it itself become difficult to read. So serif, there are some common serif fonts which you will be very commonly using in almost all the design. For example, if you say serif font, it will be Baskervilles or Belly or Cinzel kind of thing, and sans serif font, n number of things, Montserrat, Webas View, so many fonts are there. Okay, Radical, Railway, so many fonts are there. So whatever you feel it works, just go and use it. Okay, so that is a simple tip. Okay, use safe font, because it is better to communicate something which makes the reader not readable to make a safe font. Okay, which means it is better to use safe font rather to make some design kind of font and make it not readable for a client or for a user. Okay, so it's better to use safe fonts. Okay, so that you feel more safer about the design. It is 100% proven that serif font and sans serif font are safe font. Okay, but still there are some serif fonts which can spoil, I can't say it is not readable, it will be difficult to read. Okay, it will be not as easy as Baskervilles or Belly or Cinzel or kind of font. Okay, there are some serif font which itself become a difficult to read font, but try to avoid it. Okay, just it is always whenever you are designing, whenever you are choosing right typeface, always a trial and error. Just you feel confident before submitting the design that these all the parameters I considered before submitting a final version to a client. Okay, and wild typeface. Okay, so safe font, just opposite of the safe font is nothing but wild typeface. Let it be a decorative font or sometimes a script font also. Some script font are really wide. Okay, try to avoid it. Okay, avoid it in your designs. So some of the examples like alloying, chasing embers, corporation games, I think so there is some spelling error, sorry for that. Corporation games is a font, edge eraser, SF4, triumph wheels. Okay, so these fonts are definitely a decorative font and it has a wild typeface. I do not say don't use this font itself. Okay, for example, these fonts definitely look good in certain situations. Chasing embers can be used in a fashion industries also. Okay, it has a brushing stroke. For a social media post, you can definitely use this chasing embers. Even I have published a book, I have used this font for a title. Okay, so it definitely looks great in a certain aspect, but don't use you can't imagine using this font for a body text itself. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Even though you are using it, just keep it in your mind whether it fits all the whatever I have said above, whether it really looks great for your branding. Even edge eraser, can use this edge eraser font for any kind of racing related activities, or if you want to communicate something, even for gaming, for any sports related activities, you can use this eraser font. But just think whether even for technology kind of thing, this is somewhat related because technology is fast growing industry. So even for technology kind of thing or digital marketing something kind of thing, you can use this. But don't imagine this for some drama type poster. Okay, so that's what branding comes into a picture. So it is always better to avoid this wild typeface, but wherever this wild typeface fits better for your brand, then go and use it. But at the same time, use it where it has to be done. You can use it for a title, you can use it for even for a subtext. Don't use it. I can say you can use it for a title, you can use it for a place where there is a bigger heading or something you need to highlight, some kind of thing, you use it, but avoid it in your subtext or even and paragraph, definitely a no thing. Okay, and even allowing it looks childish, you can use for any kids any kindergarten school, you can use it. Okay, so these are the things you can do it, but think twice before using it. Okay, and chasing embers, think twice and thrice before using it, because if you're going for a print medium, then definitely think twice, because this definitely will have an impact in the printing. Okay. Okay. Okay, sorry for it. Okay, so that's what this is just a continuation for my LA side. So in the left side you can see a person who is completely wild, and it is something wild. Okay, the color of the dress, the whatever posture he is standing, or it is completely wild, it looks wild. But in the second thing, it's the person, it looks very formal, it looks very neat, but you just see his buckle. Okay, that buckle doesn't fit, it doesn't what you call, you can't say it doesn't gel with him. Okay, of course it definitely goes well with him. It creates a good contrast, but it looks wild. Okay, but still that it is a small element of this entire outlook, but it still look wild, but it creates a good contrast. So what I'm trying to tell here is, I'm not telling to avoid wild font, go for a wild font, but create a unique contrast with the other font and use wild font only where it has to be used. For example, if you see this House of Type poster in the left hand side, everywhere they have used the wild font. Okay, House of Toy in a headline, they have used wild font, it looks great. Okay, there is no problem with that. And at the bottom they have used same wild font for the subtext, and they have used same even for appetizer, noodle, seafood, it looks great. Okay, it is not that bad, it is, we are able to read it, like appetizer. But they are using for a subtext, they are using for a small thing, they are using for the rupee, everywhere they have used wild. So it looks wild, and it is difficult to read, and it is somewhat straining to our eyes also. But same thing, if you see here what they have done it, they have used House of Toy in that wild typeface itself, but wherever they need to go for a serif or sans serif font, they have gone for it. For example, open Monday to Friday major credit card addresses, they have gone for a sans serif font. Similarly, for all the menu related item, they have gone for a sans serif font. So what this has happened is, this has created a good amount of contrast between the title and the main text. Okay, so there is a wild typeface and there is a safe font, so there is a great amount of contrast, which as a design it looks neat. Even though there is not any fancy design element, it is just a plain menu card, but still with the typeface they have created this contrast. It looks neat and it looks attractive, it looks readable, it looks legible. Okay, and also this House of Thai, that font itself become the some sort, it connects to the brand. Okay, so everything is corrected. So this banner is what how it entirely speaks about how to choose the right typeface. Okay, so it is not mandatory to avoid the wild typeface, use wild typeface, but combine it with the right typeface, create a good amount of contrast, your design will be greater one. So coming to this contrast, we are coming on to a next slide. Okay, coming on to a next video will be about how to create contrast, which is a very important thing. Even if you don't know what is font pairing, if you get this contrast right, your font pairing is done. Because here, that is what here for creating a contrast they have gone for a new font, which means it is indirectly telling about a font pairing only here. Okay, so we'll gel in detail about I'll tell you in detail about contrast in later video. So hope so this is clear. And finally I need to conclude with this point. As everyone says, design has no rules. It is always up to you to break the rules, but make sure your main purpose of any design is to make is what you are having in your mind, it should be communicated to others. Okay, so you have to provide solution. As a designer, you have to provide solution and you are communicating that solution with the help of your design. So make sure you can break all the rules, but make sure the purpose is solved. Okay, so that is what, with this I'm concluding this video, and thank you. Hope so you could understand what I am trying to communicate it. So we'll see you soon in your next video. Bye. Thank you.